Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We were from group 2 that want to present about halal and non-halal food.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Khatijah Bt Yusah, metric number 1171642. Halal and the haram are one of the legal systems in Islam, which is Sharia, a system whose primary objective brings benefit to mankind. Halal carried out the meaning of things that permitted, with respect to which no restriction exists, and doing something that Allah allowed. While haram is something that prohibited, which is anyone who commits will face punishment of Allah in the hereafter as well as legal punishment in this world. When it comes to food, Allah commands His servants to choose both halal and tayyib, according to word of Allah in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 168, meaning, mankind eat of what is lawful and wholesome on earth, and do not follow in Satan's footsteps. He is indeed an open enemy for you. People are instructed that they should listen only to Allah concerning what may or may not be lawful for consumption. The word umum al-balwa consists two separate words, which are umum and balwa. Umum refer to general or opposite to specific, while balwa comes from the word bala. According to the scholar, the word bala contains two meanings, which are trial or test. The combination of the words, it can be referred to general trial. Umum al-balwa is a form of masyaqqah, which is more specifically related to the concept of darurah in Islam. Overall, this term refers to something that contradicts the original law that related to the general needs and will cause harmful to human if not implemented. The word umum al-balwa is not only applied on ibadah, but the scholars also implied it on muamalat and food. In matter of food, there are several issues or problems has arisen, such as food that have been dubbed either it comes from halal procedure or not, and the source of the medicine. This kind of issue cause disputes and debates among the Muslims if it allowed in Islam or prohibited. It is undeniable that in the debate on jurisprudence, which is fiqh, umum al-balwa is applied in determining the halal of a food.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syaida binti Sawawi, metric number 1171636. I will present about conceptual and defining halal. The word halal comes originally from Arabic language, meaning allowable, acceptable or permitted. From the perspective of fiqh, the word means a choice that is allowed by the Islamic law. That is, one has a choice either to do or not to do it. In another word, it is synonym with another Arabic word, mubah. Halal food may apparently be the same as other food, but its nature, technique of its process involving the ingredient handling, use of various methods from the beginning to the end is always the one approved and recommended by Islamic law. Every food is considered halal in Islam unless it is specially stated that something is haram and prohibited by the Quran and Hadith. According to Qardawi, halal means a thing which is permitted, with respect to which no restriction exists, and the doing of which the lawgiver Allah has allowed. After that, halal food refer to any food which is not from or do not contain any part of animal forbidden by Islamic law, or animal that are not slaughtered according to Islamic law, does not have any impure substance considered by Islamic law, is not prepared, processed, or manufactured using equipment or utensils which are not free from impurities as defined by Muslim law. According to Sharia, all issues concern halal or haram, and even all dispute should be referred to Quran and Sunnah. Halal may have been identified by explicit evidence in the Sharia or by referring to the presumption of permissibility, ibahah. Explanation regarding halal and haram and the obligation to find halal or good are recorded in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 173, Surah Al-An'am, verse 145, and Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 99, as well as hadith Anas bin Malik narrated from Rasulullah SAW said, finding what is halal is an obligation on every Muslim. The discussion of the concept of halal food is also made based on qawaid fiqhiyah, which is the basic rules built on its knowledge of practical Sharia laws. In short, the method of fiqh adopted in al-Balwa. After that, types of halal foods. It is often difficult to classify processed food as strictly halal or haram because of the ingredients content. Therefore, it is important to check the product's label to see if it is halal certified. If no certification, verify the list of ingredients and look for haram ingredients. Some of examples include gelatin, alcohol, animal fats, and animal blood. Many incidents have been reported, such as pig DNA, contamination of said butters, and others. However, the contamination can occur through cross-contamination, which is unintentional and difficult to avoid. Therefore, it is important to identify and use the concept of al-Balwa in food contamination perspective. By the way, here's a list of the type of food that are considered halal. Grain products such as bread, breakfast, cereal, or baked goods prepared without haram ingredients. After that, vegetable and fruits. All vegetable and fruit raw, dried, frozen, or canned, and fruit cooked or served with water, butter, or vegetable oils. And then meat product such as yogurt, cheese, and ice cream made with bacteria culture without animal rennet. After that, meat and alternative, meat and poultry slaughtered according to Islam, and combination food, main dish in trees, any zabihah meat or alternative dish, pizza, pasta, or rice prepared without haram food and ingredient. And then dessert and sweet, any made without alcohol or without pure or artificial vanilla extract.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Bushraa binti Mohd Salleh. Metric number 11715666. Today I want to present about the guidelines on halal food. There are 8 guidelines that mentioned here. The first is the important definition as provided for the trade description. Number 1 is the important definition as provided for in the Trade Description Act. That's the first is the Islamic law, Sharia laws. The source of Islamic laws are Al-Quran, Hadith, Ijma, and Qiyas. Whichever food substances mentioned is in one of these sources mentioned above, be it halal permissible or haram forbidden, is interpreted as being Islamic laws. Their fields according to Islamic laws are that substances such as pork, bloods, and carcasses. Second is the clean substances contaminated by filth and cannot be purified. The third one is the clean substances contaminated by filth and can be purified. Second is the source of halal foods and drinks. First one is the animals. The animals divided into two. That's water animals and land animals. The water animals that are which live only in water, that are halal permissible that can be eaten, except if poisonous, intoxicated, and harmful to human health. Second point is the land animals. All land animals permitted to be eaten, except animals not slaughtered according to Islamic laws. Second is the pigs. Third is the dogs. And carnivorous animals that slash and kill, such as tigers, bears, birds with claws, or birds with feet by snatching and tearing, such as eagles. Next, F is the animal which are permitted to be killed in Islam, such as rats. G is the animals that insects forbidden to be killed in Islam, such as ants, bees. And the last one is the animals which generally considered as repulsive, such as lice, flies, maggots, and other else. Plants that all types of plants, their products are halal permissible and can be eaten, except if poisonous, intoxicated, and harmful. And the drinks is all from water are permissible and can be taken, except they are poisonous, intoxicating, and harmful. Islam forbids the intake of alcoholic and intoxicating drinks such as wines and alcoholic beers. Is the slaughtering of animals. The slaughtering must be performed manually by Muslim of a sound mind, matures, and fully understand the fundamentals and conditions related to slaughtering. Next is the animal to be slaughtered are permitted halal to be eaten. And the animals must be healthy and not in the state of stress. And the animal uh, must be severed. The respiratory tract, esophagus, the channel for taking foods, and the jugular veins. That's it. And the last one is the all slaughtering device must be sharp, but that are not made from bones, nails, and teeth. This is about alcohol. The Fatwa Committee of Malaysia, in their meeting in 11 April until 12 April 1984, they decided a few importance regarding alcohol. There are all liquor contains alcohol, but not all alcohol is a liquor. And a soft drink which are made with the same way as liquor production process either contained a little alcohol or its alcohol has been distilled are haram to be drink. And the next one is the soft drink which are not made for liquor or any intoxicating drinks are not produced in the same way as the liquor processes are halal. The cordials which contain any flavoring substances derived from alcohol for the purpose of stabilizing. The soft drinks are allowed to be used as drink if the alcohol is not made from a liquor production process and the quantity of the alcohol is in the flavor is too little and not resulting in drunken condition or any side effect. And the tapai is the fermented rice halal to be eaten, and the alcohol that is produced from the food production processes byproducts is non-filled and allowed to eat. And the medicines and fragrance which contains alcohol are allowed to be used. And storage. All halal goods are kept displayed and served must be isolated from any goods coming in contact with filth or non-halal materials. Foods processing and cooking. Uh, the processing done is clean and free from the filth, such as must not be made of containing any parts products from animal which are forbidden by Islamic laws, must not contain any product which considered as filth according to Islamic laws, must be prepared, processed, manufactured using equipment which are free from filth. During the preparation, processing, and storage, food must not come into the contact or close proximity with any foods which do not meet the requirements of the hygiene and sanitation. The premise for the manufacturing, preparation, and sale of foods and drink must be clean. The workers in the food factories must be healthy and they must wear clean protective clothing. And the equipment must be cleaned and washed frequently to ensure cleanliness. And the toilets and the washroom must be cleaned from time to time. Proper hand cleaning is necessary after each usage of toilets and before starting of food processing. And the last one is the regular cleaning and sanitization, ensure prevention and reduction of harmful contaminants. Halal label permissible. The label of halal, certificate halal, or any other statement which can give similar meaning, permitting, allowing Muslim to eat, drink, and manufacture, preparation and sell in the premise in halal for Muslim. Trade Description Act use of the statement halal 1975 and Trade Act Food Labeling 1975 is attached. Conclusion is this explains that the use of general method of al-balwa is closely related to the guidelines on halal food. It is important in terms of food safety and the guarantee of halal food. From the aspect of food safety should be taken into starting of raw materials to production. From the Malaysia context, there are some guidelines and laws that control aspects of safety. For example, halal meat is placed with non-halal meat, which causes contamination from the guidelines on halal foods. The general methods of al-balwa discussed the phases that are forgiven or there is a little element of small gharar whether allowed or not.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Today I would like to share about halal food law in Malaysia. Malaysia is one the verge of making itself as the world halal center. This is evident by the fact that Malaysia was the first Muslim majority country where the government declared the development of halal sector as one of the most potential engines for growth for the national economy. So, legislation on halal production is very much needed as the non-Muslim manufacturers also produce food offered for sale. There are some proposals regarding legalization of halal production. First is to protect the consumers. Second one is to ensure that halal food producers fulfill their moral obligation towards the customer to carry out their business fairly, sincerely, transparent and consumer friendly. And the third one, which is the last one, is to facilitate halal food trade for both local and global market. The Act will stand as a guideline to all Muslim and non-Muslim food manufacturers. Okay, so the first law that I would like to share is the Trade Description Act. This law involves Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumers Affairs. The law is enforced in cooperation with several government agencies such as Department of Veterinary Services, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs headed by JAKIM, and the last one is State Department of Religious Affairs. Trade Description Act 1972, Section 10 of the Act 1972 allows the minister to enact the trade descriptions which mean use of expression halal Order 1975. Section 3 of the Order 1975 allows the use of expression halal, ditanggung halal or makanan Islam in relation to food to indicate that Muslims are permitted by their religion to consume such food item. Section 3 of the order has a similar definition of halal food with the definition given by JAKIM's guideline on food and drinks and goods utilized by the Muslim in 1994. Trade description, which means marking of food, Order 1975, made under the Section 11 of the Trade Description Act 1972, requires food which is halal according to the trade description that use expression halal Order 1975 must not be supplied unless marked with halal label. The Trade Description Act 1975, though it contains a provision for the use of the halal label, the Act, however, does not specify the conditions and the procedure for the grant the halal label. The second law is called Custom Order Prohibition of Imports 1988. This law provides a control over the import of milk and other milk products, such as poultry fat or lard, beef fat and others. This law states that all meats and livestock imported to Malaysia need to be halal. The third law is Animal Importation Order 1962. In this law stated that this is a requirement that all meat and livestock that were imported to Malaysia must be halal, safe and disease-free. This law is enforced by the Department of Veterinary Services and the Customs and Excise Department at entry points in Malaysia. The fourth law is Food Regulations 1986. Regulation 11 Clause 1C provides that where the food contains beef or pork or its derivatives or lard, a statement of its presence in that food should be written in the label. Regulation 11D requires that food that contains alcohol need to be labeled as such. Although the Food Regulations 1985 requires the presence of non-halal substance to be declared on the label, nevertheless, the provision is insufficient to govern the various matters related to halal food production. The fifth law, Local Government Act 1976, in Section 20D, Clause 1, A-B of the Licensing of Food Establishments Bylaws 1995, requires the license to wash utensils used for non-halal food separately from those used for the halal food. It is also a requirement that the utensils used for the non-halal food should not be used for the preparation and serving of the halal food. Subsection 3 states that if the premises only serve non-halal food, then the license must all time display on the menu the words non-halal food only. Other than law, our government also provide guideline and code of practice regarding halal food in Malaysia. I had mentioned in previous slide regarding the guideline and code of practice, but in the next slide, I would like to share the details about the guideline and the code of practice regarding halal food in Malaysia. The first guidelines is called Guidelines on Food, Drinks and Goods Utilized by Muslims. This guidelines is utilized by JAKIM in 1984. The purposes of this guideline are to elaborate the use of term halal, ditanggung halal and makanan orang Islam under Section 3 of the Trade Description Order 1975. This guideline also explains to food processors and the public about the halal and haram aspect as stipulated by Sharia law. It also defines halal food and drinks, the way of slaughtering that accepted in Islam, processing, handling, labeling, and utensils used by Muslims. The second guideline is General Guidelines on the Slaughtering of Animals and the Preparation and Handling of Halal Food. After some time, JAKIM issues specific guidelines regarding the slaughtering of animal and the preparation and storage of halal food. This guideline need to be observed by all establishments involved in the processing of halal food. It is also applicable to all foreign establishments that intending to export their products to our country, Malaysia. These guidelines should be used together by existing guidelines on GMP and hygienic sanitary requirements. The last guideline is Halal Food Production, Preparation, Handling and Storage General Guidelines Second, revision. It is a requirement that the standard is to be used together with food safety according to Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point (HACCP) system, general principles of food hygiene, and guidelines on good hygiene practices for small and medium-scale food industries towards HACCP.
Meaning of non-halal food, which is fashion, pharmaceuticals, and cosmetics, and tourism. The terms of halal and haram are not only used in food, but it is also used in different matters such as fashion, pharmaceuticals, and cosmetics, and tourism. In this topic, non-halal foods such as fashion, pharmaceutical and cosmetics, and tourism refer to any matters, act, activity, or practice that is prohibited according to Islamic teaching, which is Sharia. Islam permits Muslim doing fashion and taking care about appearance, dressing, maintain dignity, and also enjoying what Allah has provided for the purpose of clothing and adornment. The matters of clothing have two purposes, which are to cover the body and to beautify the appearance world. In matters of fashion, Islam allowed the mankind to dress themselves wherever they like, but the term of haram will be used if they fail to cover the body or transparent, which reveal what is underneath. Besides, it is also prohibited to wear tight clothes which delineate the parts of the body. Pharmaceutical and cosmetics are referring to the beauty product applied to human body for the sake of appearance. These products are not only famous among the women but also men. The examples of these famous products including cleanser, cream, lotion, powders, bath products, vitamins, and facial makeup. The growing interest of this product caused high demand of halal-based products. The reason is because the halal cosmetic brands do not contain fluorescein by-product and alcohol that illegal in Islam. The halal beauty product absolutely follows the producer according to the Islamic teaching that recognized as clean, safe, and high quality. The non-halal tourism related to the activities of persons traveling to and staying in places outside their place for the sake of leisure, business, and other purpose. The activity considered as non-halal when all the activities, facilities, action, and objectives didn't match with the Islamic teaching and prohibited in Islam. For example, even if a man travels to the holy city of Mecca or Medina during Hajj seasons, but with the evil intention to steal things from Hajj or Umrah travelers, then the action cannot be classified as Islamic. If the purpose of traveling is to seek the pleasure of Allah, be glory to Him, or in order to strengthen his faith, then it will be both halal and Islamic.
Conclusion. Islam requires consume all the food that are fine and forbid eating the food that are disgusting and dirty. Therefore, in resolve the issue of halal and haram food today, the principle of al-balwa should be applied. It has been found that the principle of al-balwa becomes one of the methods to clarify and determine the halal status of contaminated food. Besides, al-balwa can be used as an alternative method in tackling halal food issues and open the space of convenience taysir as well as relief takhfif on the mukallaf in matters that are exclude istisnad.